Oh, I think Ricky's had a fire chain for a very long time. If I remember correctly, he has creels. Well, I wouldn't have, or not have a magic boost. I would have... this. The difference in being is that Shulk would be able to run a Striker and have 2 charges of instant cast after using it, and I could put Mako Might on Terra. Yeah, I mean, looking at Manicore's shit. Turn 3 bite, whatever. %78% physical damage to slots 2, 3, and 4, whatever. Piercing, bite. More 278, piercing, bite. And that's turn 9. Then piercing, 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 piercing. The first non-piercing in phase 2 is turn 8. Probably not. Can probably try to avoid that. Bite does approximately 5k. Sounds like a great way to get some trances off. I planned on doing, because I won't have Onion Knight's Allegro Con Moto, I was gonna Alara turn 2 USB anyway. So the bite, right after the bite. Or the turn after the bite is a combo, 2, 3, and 4. Wonder if you'd be able to survive that. It's non-ranged physical damage. I'd have to still run Protectka, obviously. Then last phase, piercing, 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 piercing. Cold Break, turn 5. Area of effect, 544% ranged physical ice damage. That would hurt. Yeah. But I only have 2 trancers, so I'd have to find who would be my... Oh, Shulk. Shulk could be the third person. She'd probably be able to survive it. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a try. Because the more soul break points I can get in that fight, the better. Because I'm gonna need to throw some OSBs at the boss. I want to try something weird. Oh, I actually have to change it. If you get his brave, I don't know, I haven't seen it. Thing is that we learn with Moro is that when an Entruster uses a soul break, it better be really, really good, because that's 500 soul breaks points lost. So he gets attack magic mind 30% for 25 seconds. It's instantaneous, that helps. Grants high quick cast and brave mode to the user. Instant and grants high quick cast. That sounds good. But it still starts slow. It has to ramp. Yeah, I don't think much better is the right word for it. The thing about Shulk is that she can get people using their soul breaks on second turn. Where either Wall does that exact same thing, or he has more soul break points by like 20 seconds. Because every Wrath that he does, well, that's not accurate. So he's going to have high quick cast. So how long does it take for him to make back 500 soul break points? And he's using Mako Might, so he's only making 180 soul break points per Wrath. It's the moral problem. The reason why the whole Haste Instacast 3 thing is so damn good is because you entrust immediately to start the fight, and your damage dealers are, you know, and elemented and chasing like 2 or 3 turns earlier than they should have been or would have been otherwise. And the increased amount of damage from that is insane, where stuff like this requires just more ramp, and I don't know if it's worth it. What's up, Strider? Thanks, Aurora. Tonight is a stream of a video that I recorded of me doing the Torment. Because I get distracted easily. I don't have a strong enough CPU in my head to properly talk about the stuff that's happening during the fight as I'm doing it. No, I'm not doing it again. I'm trying something else. So I was thinking to myself how valuable Alphino's soul breaks really are. So I want to try using his BSB instead. Just to see what the difference is. Because it is a fight where it would be useful. He gets nothing. Approaching quick cast in the fight, so the instant command would be really nice. And we do get the chain up pretty high at one point. So he summons his little winged gremlin. See, that may not look like much, but the instant cast charge basically doubles the amount of damage that he does. Plus then some on top of that because he's attacking faster and more chances to dual cast as well. What happened here? Oh, oops. One more turn. What's up, Rainmaker? Soft cap even with the super? That delay on Ishtola may have been devastating, but we'll see. Now she should get it off. Hi, Blender. Both cats. Shit. Hey, Jimbo. Actually, I think all he needs is his BSB. I think Alphino's USB and USB 2 are just lies. They're the illusion of strength. USB 2 does not give instant cast to the party. If it did, I wouldn't be shit-talking it. It gives him high quick cast too. He never uses Dark Veil for using that. Wonder if I could just spend a turn doing something else. Oh, did I entrust on first turn? What the fuck is wrong with me? I don't know if the kills the run. She gets so many soul break points. But it's pretty possible that that was a bad thing. Yeah, I actually went through the effort of watching the video and counting how much damage Radiant Shield did over the course of the fight. Well, nobody died. Deployment tactics, 78,359. And then add 19,000 onto it. Because that is when the Wind Radiant from his USB 2 kicked in. And regular Radiant Shield would have done more than that, so let's say about 100,000 damage over the course of the run. Oh, fudge. I messed this run up pretty hard. Unless he entrusted Alara. Wow, he did. The run lives. I'd have to imagine that it's more than 15%. Shit, you need to recast your chain, dude. since the mages don't soft cap. It's not after soft cap. Mages are very hard to soft cap. Pretty neat. I think anytime that Persona 5 gets disseminated to the masses, or people that haven't, been exposed to it, I'm happy about it. Got added to the Super Smash Ultimate game. Yeah, I feel the same way, Keeper. Perfect timing. 5 o'clock. Alright, let's get this guy set up. Well, no more cat. No need for a torso cam anymore. Well, we still have a cat, but she's over there. quiet day. God, you get so surprised at everything that happens in this game, Max. Just playing with you. Okay. Right, team comp. All right. Commentary start. We got a souped-up Papalymo. We got Ida, Y'shtola, Minfilia, who does not use soul breaks, and Alphina, who uses a lot of soul breaks. But I'm not sure he actually needs to. I'll get to that later. Papalymo's disgusting. I got both his USB 2 or USB 1 and his arcane. I've had Ida's USB for a while. I think I got it on a Realm on Parade. Y'shtola is just needs her BSB. In fact, her BSB is pretty good for the fight. It is just as annoying as it always was with that whole stone skin thing, but it turns out that the fight is well suited for her stone skin because there's some really powerful mega attacks, 2 of them to be exact. And being able to, you know, get rid of a lot of the damage that they deal with that stone skin shield is really nice. Minfilia, while she doesn't use soul break, she still uses a relic in this fight, and that is her LMR2. Yeah, her LMR2. Which is awesome. And really the poll that I was given the other day really hit hard. 3 out of 4 relics that I pulled are pivotal parts of this sub 30, and they don't happen without them. Even Minfilia's LMR. It's pretty vital for her to get going what she gets going in the beginning. All right. For Papalymo, he's got his Arcane Rod. Get him with Terra's BSB for armor, and there's a reason why I'm using Terra's BSB, even though it's a bracer. Normally, I'll default to using better pieces of armor, like for defensive statistics, and I do have them. But I purposely use something with worse defensive statistics on Papalymo, just so I could have him take more damage at a single certain point in the fight, which I will get to when it happens. Let's see that Papalymo has the wind and fire resistance accessory on. This is a pretty important accessory for the person in the first slot, because the 2 slots in the fight that take a more wind damage than everything else is 1 and 5, and the 4 slots that take fire damage in the fight are 1, 2, 3, and 5, where there's 2 fire attacks. One is 1, 2, and 3, and the second fire attack is 1 and 5. So the first position gets hit with a lot of wind attacks, gets hit with a lot of fire attacks. Add on to the fact that Papalymo has his End Fire by that point, to take even less damage from fire attacks, and he is the perfect tank for that position. And it's necessary, because if I'm unable to take those fire attacks at that point in the fight, then Y'shtola isn't allowed to slow cast her Asylum out and get it off in time for one of the gigantic attacks in the fight. I would need to have the Asylum off before the second fire attack, where I want it off after both of the fire attacks. So it's my Stone Skin bubbles are primed and ready to go for that tank. What's it called again? I can't check. Whatever. We'll just call it a Mega Attack. We'll get to it when it pops up on the screen. Papalymo has a Protectka. In order for this to work out the way I wanted to, Tank Purge, there you go. I needed to cast Protectka with Papalymo, and that's why he needs to use Terra's BSB as his armor. Because by a certain point in the fight, the boss uses a Geo Crush, which is an earth attack. And I need Papalymo to take enough damage from that Geo Crush to pop his Stone Skin bubble, to make him take damage for the extra 50 Soul Break points, because I don't cast an ability, or a damaging ability with Papalymo on first turn, so his Soul Break generation suffers for a single turn. So that is all linked, the fact that he generates that extra 50 Soul Break points from getting hit. And you'll see that when it gets to that point. Chain Faraja, of course, it's the strongest fire ability, and no one else is using any fire abilities for Fire Black Magic. So, shit, why not? Give him Chain Faraja. And I use every single Chain Faraja over the course of the fight, I think. I have 7 or 8 of them. It's an R4. Papalymo's dived. I don't have any cast speed buffs on this team, so the most beneficial thing that I can do to a DPS that has no cast speed buffs would be to give him Thunder God mode. Papalymo is the king DPS in the fight, Thunder God mode. And, you know, he puts it to use. Ida does give herself cast speed buffs, lots of them, which means that even without Thunder God mode, she is able to chew through 9 hones over the course of the fight. She uses 3 5-star abilities, 3 abilities to get up to her USB, and then uses 6 after that. So, my choice in what to do with Ida is use 1 ability once, and then 8 of the 6-star Fire Monk abilities. Fire Iron Fist. I could choose to do a lot of things with that 1 attack for her at the start of the fight, but what I chose to do instead was use Meteor Crush. I think it's the first time I've ever used Meteor Crush in an important fight. Because the 50% attack, even though she's already over soft cap, does grant her 22.5% increased damage, and, well, that's better than anything, or for 20 seconds after it's cast. That's how long the buff lasts. It's a 50% attack buff. Out of 10 on what scale? Versus Magicite, versus Torment, future prospects. Gotta provide some context. So I chose Meteor Crush because it adds up. It adds to her damage after the first turn. It's actually pretty nice. Since she doesn't do a whole lot on the first turn anyway. Because the deployment tactics that Alphino is going to cast isn't up, so she doesn't even have any buffs up yet. So she is below soft cap at that point anyway. Anything else going on for Ida? Her USB provides her with 3 charges of Monk instant cast, giving her cast speed buffs kind of pointless, since she does almost everything instant anyway. So giving her 30% damage with fist weapons equipped is just a good call. Ida takes a single hit of fire damage in the fight. I don't care that much about the earth damage in the fight, so because Ida gives herself End Fire and reduces fire damage naturally to herself, what I did instead of giving her a broad spectrum resist, I gave her the Final Fantasy XIV Wind Resist accessory. So it's a stronger than moderate resist because it gets synergy and it buffs up the amount of resist. So she defends against both fire, for that single fire attack because of her End Fire, and she strongly defends against wind damage. Which is helpful because that allows me to use Meteor Crush. If she didn't have the wind resist on, then I would have to use Fires Within on her to heal the first turn, because the boss's second turn is a strong single target attack on the second position. And if she wasn't strongly resisting wind damage, then she would get killed. Because, as you're going to see, I think I've done it in every commentary, like for the last 3 commentaries. This is the, let's see how much damage we can take before we actually have to heal the party game. And I made a real nice game out of this one because it's a real mess, the resists that you need to use in this fight. But I'll show you that when that turn comes, which is turn 3 for Y'shtola. Y'shtola... Heiska, because I don't have a Heiska on the team. My buff is coming from Alphino, which is just a super soul break deployment tactics. And Wrath. Because the one turn in the fight that she uses Wrath, I wouldn't benefit much from using any heals on that turn anyway, so might as well get some soul break points out of it, which she uses very well. And it's official. One of the first legend dives that I did, and I regretted for so long, has finally come to fruition. Y'shtola's legend dive is on display in this fight. Congratulations, Y'shtola. You are a mature cat girl now. And she gets Mako Might necessary. Because she needs USB, or she needs a BSB. It might as well be her USB. It's her best soul break. On third turn, and she can't do that in any other configuration that I run. Next up, Minfilia has a bunch of protective gear on, and she has Major Earth Resist on because Major Wind is taken, and she does not take any fire damage in the fight. So the only 2 elements I care about are Wind and Earth. There are no Wind and Earth accessories, so I just gave her Major Earth. I don't know if it's really all that useful. This is the least priority spot on the entire fight. But hey. And you see she has her LMR equipped, essential. Lionheart. Does she really have Lionheart on? Yeah, I think she does. She either has Lionheart or Ace Striker. I don't think it matters, but she should be using Ace Striker. I think I took the screenshot of the wrong team. Because she's using Wrath, which means she will generate more soul break points from using Ace Striker. Because it would be 90 soul break points every time she uses Wrath, which is twice. And she gets increased soul break generation from using Entrust as well, which would exceed the amount that Lionheart gives, because Lionheart is only 25 extra soul break points every time she gets hit. But both work. It makes sense to use a Striker instead, in case there was ever a real conflict in her needing the soul break points. And lastly, we have Alphino in the last position. Don't have a wind weapon for him. Well, I do, but it's non-synergy. I do have a synergy 6-star weapon for him, and because mages have such a difficult time hitting their soft cap, I actually, for the first time in forever, use a weapon for the raw stats rather than the 20% extra damage. But I don't do so on his armor. I give him the 20% wind armor because he's got a nice piece of armor. Boy, is that Fusion jacket really Aged well. There we go. I think I got it about 2 years ago. 1.5 years ago. 1.5 to 2 years ago. And it's still running point on me in the hardest content in the game. Alphino has major wind resist on. The reason why is because, as I said, wind damage hits the first position and the fifth position the hardest in this fight. The only time that I would have rather had something else would be for fire damage. And there are no more than just that one fire and wind resist. And I need that on first position on Papalymo. So Alphino gets the second best thing, which is major wind resist. And he needs it. You'll see. Like, everybody needs the resist that you get. Except for one person. I think I have 4 people at, like, lower than 5% health. Alphino, my beautiful son, is Legend Dives because he's awesome in Magicite with his Super Soul Break, and he's awesome in the Torment with his Super Soul Break as well. And he has Mako Might to get it out on first turn. Here's the interesting part that I forgot to take a screenshot of, so I'm going to have to put it back up on screen. Is the Magicite. Alright, in the first position we have Belias. The reason why? Well, none of the other stuff that I use really makes sense. Fanfrit would be fine if I needed it. But however, the prospect of sub-30ing this boss without Belias' 10% increased fire damage is really slim. I think everyone would just have to double cast for the entire fight, which is not something I would have ever want to sit through. So he has 3 level 15 empowers because I had well-leveled 4-star Magicite, so why not? And they help out Papalymo and Ida. Moving on, we have Fanfrit's entry. I talked about briefly. Rather than Belias' increased fire damage, Fanfrit's entry is a fire stone skin, which would be useful in the fight because the boss does have 2 consecutive turns of some pretty heavy fire damage, followed by, on most runs, is probably going to be the heavy attack. So I think Fanfrit would actually be a good Magicite to use as your primary for a lot of teams, just to help you deal with that fire damage on those 2 turns. So you could go against the tank purge with full health bars and not get wiped out by it. So that would be a different way to run it. However, I run it a little differently. Fanfrit, I need for the 2 dampen fires, and the Spell Ward and the Resistance Boon are all used in this fight very well. How critical is the RS? RS, like, on relics? Krista, I use for Dampen Wind. Dampen Wind, Blade Ward, and Defense Boon. It's basically a 4-star version of Fanfrit. Could be improved within a week when the 5-star Ice Magicite get released, and I use Mateus instead, which will just be a more powerful Magicite that does about the same thing. Oh, Radiant. Not critical. The Radiant itself only does about 100k. It's the buff that does more. The reason why is because Ishtola's Stone Skin canceled out a lot of the damage that I get, that I receive. So Radiant gets reduced a little bit. But still, a first turn, 30% buff to the entire party that also just happens to deal 100,000 damage. Again, deployment tactics showing that is one of the best Super Soul Breaks in the game. Third, we got Sylph for Dampen Earth. And this is kind of going into the whole modular Magicite thing, and that's why I really wanted to talk a lot about my Magicite here, even though I don't have to talk long about it, thank goodness, is that I use a single Magicite for 4 different purposes. 1, empower fire. 2, dampen fire. 3, dampen wind. And 4, dampen earth. And running with the Magicite decks that I use would all plug in perfect Magicite to work on this team because they're modular. There's a single Magicite, and each single Magicite has a single purpose. And you see it on Famfrit. Heavy, dampen fire, and 2 nice passives. And that would work the same way for Mateus, which is 2 dampens, Blade Ward, and another passive. Sylph would be Adamantoise, who would be 2 dampens, and I believe Defense Spoon, and then another passive that I'd have inherited. And then finally, Evray, who is here for a single magic boon. I only have 1 magic boon to the party. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a way to plug in another. I probably could have put one in that slot on Krista instead of using the second level 5 dampen wind. Yes, it would be definitely Kevin. And I'll actually talk about that when we get Stone Skin, when the fight starts, because I wouldn't have to be so weird about some of the decisions I make, because I try to make my team take more damage at some points, simply because I want the Stone Skin to go away so people start generating Soul Break points again. I think I could have put in another magic boon on Krista, but I didn't have to. And I didn't want to try, because what if I needed that dampen? And you'll see that it does come really, really close. That I may actually need that level 5 dampen. Which I don't suggest doing, just going out and making a level 5 dampen to throw on a 4-star Magicite. That was inherited from a Fenrir. I think a level 80 Fenrir from 3-star. You know. And Krista will carry on the torch when Krista inherits that level 10 dampen wind over to Mateus. But obviously much more effective, because level 10 is the highest amount of dampen. Yeah, and that's just a really powerful Magicite squad. I don't have any wasted slots here. Yeah, alright. So we can close that. And I think we can start it up after we talk about the first turn. First turn is obviously, I designate the left-hand ability most of the time for my first turn, which you'll see here. Papalymo, Ida, and Ashola, I'll use them, which is Protectica, Meteor Crush, and Heiska. Minfilia uses the RW for Chain, and Alphino uses Soul Break Deployment Tactics. And I'm sure this is intentional, but the boss takes its first turn and allows, at the time that ATB triggers for everybody, which allows me to get off all my actions before the boss's casting animation is done, which is real kind of them. Thank you. Because it's Papalymo's. I'll talk about this very briefly. Papalymo's turns in this fight are of utmost importance. Every single time his ATB comes up, he needs to cast immediately. No exceptions, because not casting means I lose tons of damage, and you'll see that at the 25-second point in the fight. this is a dual cast. Yep. Awesome. Extra 7,500 damage. Everybody seems really hurt. And they are. Okay. I hold this Asylum. Because if I cast it right now... Let's just get this right thing off the screen. If I cast Asylum right now, then it will go off before the boss's... not next attack, but attack after. I engineered the party to survive the next 2 attacks. Because in doing so, I saved myself a ton of healing, and that's necessary to allow Y'shtola to generate enough soul break points to use 2 more Asylums over the course of the fight. Because she needs to use both of those Asylums to defend against the tank purges. So what I did there is I held it until after Papalymo's casting animation went off. And I want to use it at about 5.65 seconds. It'll vary depending on the fast acts that you have in your team. I have a single level 5 fast act on Sylph. So that's 1 boss attack. Ida's dual casting, but Papalymo doesn't do it much. You see, boss hasn't acted yet, but Y'shtola has a full cast bar. There, we did get a dual cast. Bam, right there. Perfectly timed. Okay, yeah, there is no way I would be able to not use the level 5 dampen on Krista. Because Papalymo is basically dead. If someone breathes on him, he's gonna fall over. But there we go. I've taken as much damage as I can on, about 4 people, and we get the Asylum off, and we're ready to go. And an entrust to Alphino. This is where I get my extra damage over the course of the fight. I do not have to entrust to Papalymo or Ida at all. Because Ida attacks, she gets 3 charges of instant cast, so she generates a lot of soul break points. So after she uses her initial USB, well, she's completely self-sufficient. And Papalymo is the same way because he has Thunder God mode on. He attacks really quickly. So over the course of the fight, he has enough to use his USB once, and then he has enough to use his Arcane. So the way that I was able to increase the amount of damage that my party did was by entrusting to Alphino, because he has slow soul break generation, since he has Mako Might, and he spends the first turn of the fight generating no soul break points for 2.5 seconds casting a soul break. And using his USB here means that I do not have to use his USB a second time. And that's kind of important. And some of my attempts, some of my previous attempts, I had been using Alphino's USB after this point, the cast happened after 15 seconds. If your cast for a finisher USB happens after 15 seconds, then it needs to be recast in order to trigger the finisher. But because it's going to be cast, or the cast time starts now, but it completes before 15 seconds, that's the important part. Then the finisher will trigger naturally, and I don't have to touch it again. So I can do other things. Okay, here's that 10-second Geo Crush that I was talking about. You notice, let's frame step back a second. Because I use Protectka on Papalymo on first turn, Papalymo does not have enough soul break points to use his USB on this turn, and he has to. He must. Not using his USB here would be a complete loss of damage output. So, on a lot of my attempts, until I made the adjustment, this Geocrush that Ultimate Weapon uses right now was completely absorbed by Y'shtola's Stone Skin, which is harder to work around than you think, because not only does like the different resists and stuff that you use matter. Like, I purposely don't want to use Earth Resist on him, because Earth Resist automatically means that it doesn't do any damage. But like the health boons that you use matter, because the amount of health that you have dictates the size of your Stone Skin bubble, and that would make it so I wouldn't be able to do this. So it was kind of tough moving, equipment and stuff around to make this happen. But this Geocrush happens the same time that Papalymo's ATB comes up, so it is perfectly timed. And I made it so he usually doesn't take 68 damage, but he takes 68 damage here, which makes him generate 50 soul break points. And you'll see his USB pops up and I'm able to cast it. Ida's still double casting. I don't do sub 40 commentaries. Again, as usual, Papalymo. The way the run and the turns work, his ATB must be uninterrupted. Every time his turn comes up, he must be able to cast. So there's our Belias, and here I do something kind of weird. Normally you would think that the lowest priority turns go to Minfilia, since she's just a slow and trust bot, but in order to get the amount of soul break points that I need, I actually need to chain here with Alphino, even though I just cast his USB, and I would get a lot of damage by using Dark Veil 4. I just can't. And it makes sense, and it'll make sense for the last 3 turns of Alphino's fight. Alright, Ida's got a USB. Now she's gonna be insta-casting all over. I did a 0 Wrath and Trust to Alphino. This is to make up for the fact that he is, wasting his turn by using a chain here. And as you'll see, it allows him to cast another Soul Break 1 turn earlier. And in doing so, because that Soul Break is his USB 2, it allows him to use the 2 charges of High Quick Cast on his USB to get off 2 actions before the end of the fight. Now, had I chained with Minfilia instead, this would not happen. I would still be able to heal the fight fine with Y'shtola, but Alphino would no longer be able to make 2 actions after his USB 2. Which is important, because the way Brave modes work is they start out with 2 charges right now. So, it's like Alphino's USB 2 is made to work with the new Brave buffs, because he gets 2 charges of High Quick Cast with it. The first charge of High Quick Cast, Dark Veil 4. Second charge of High Quick Cast, Brave mode. Or Brave Command. And then that's the end of this. Papalymo doesn't do a whole lot of dual casting. Ida with her RNG carried it. That was almost a fatal error. Let's look at that again. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor all that well, but normally I want my cursor ready to go and spamming where the ability I know that's going to pop up needs to be clicked. The cursor is in the middle of the screen. I forgot what I was supposed to do on Ishtola here. I don't forget why or how, but I probably spaced out like I normally do. But this is almost a fatal error. Because Ishtola's turns are pretty important here as well. It took me way too long to go and cast that Tetragrammaton. Alphino uses Dark Veil 4 once, and after this one Dark Veil 4, he can cast his third Soul Break, thanks to the support that he's gotten from Minfilia. That's an important Geo Crush. Because Alphino has survived miraculously, which will allow Ishtola to get off another Asylum here. And start defending against the Tank Purge. I believe that is Papalymo's second and last Zoom cast. And you see, Alphino had the Soul Break points to use his USB 2 here. That's why it was important that he used the Realm Chain. Because he is unable to do that if he uses Dark Veil 4. And Minfilia uses the Chain instead. I had to pause here. Well, I'll go back to that. The reason why is, you see Minfilia's ATB? Thank goodness Minfilia is slow. God, she is molasses. I think she has like a 124 speed. Because if she gets ATB first here over Papalymo, then this run's dead. Because she spends too long inputting her action, and Papalymo spends too long sitting there with idle ATB, that he is unable to do what he needs to do on next turn, as you'll see. And I was so worried about it, I was just spam clicking the right position because I knew that it needed to be that or the run was over anyway. And this is it's hard for me to not appreciate this enough, but you'll see here that I just got an Entrust off with Minfilia. The Entrust is going to complete at about the same time that Ishtola's next ATB comes up. And that is completely essential. It needs to be cast immediately, and yeah, you'll see that too. Just the timings in this fight were just so incredibly exciting. And that's why Ishtola uses a Tetragrammaton here, even though everyone's at full health. Because she needs those 50 Soul Break points from the burst command. And she needs to not do anything else because her ATB needs to heat up as soon as she gets that first. Because there is another tank approach. Here's Alphino's USB 2. Honestly, it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. That was with End Wind. That did 40,000 damage. Had I used Dark Veil 4 instead, same amount of damage. The reason why I used it is for the 2 charges of High Quick Cast and the Brave command. Believe it or not, Dark Veil 4 has a higher multiplier than the USB. You see, Ida cast her USB last turn. She has 3 charges of Fire Iron Fist left. It works out perfectly. Oh shoot, we just missed like the most important part of the fight. See, there's 24.09 seconds left. 24.65. Well, what happens at 25 seconds? Papalymo loses Thunder God mode. And if he loses Thunder God mode, then he loses an action. Or if he loses Thunder God mode and then inputs his action, he loses an action at the end of the fight. Losing at least 50,000, or no, not at least 50,000, at least 90,000 damage because of the chase and the Chain Faraja itself. That is why it is just insanely important that he never, ever, ever has any delay over the course of the fight. Because, as you'll see, he hasn't even had his ATB yet, and he's only 2.25 seconds left before the timer runs out. So let's frame step and see how close this really is. And I can't actually do this on screen or on stream most of the time, because on stream I have a higher input delay because the streaming itself is processor intensive, so it slows down my emulator. That's why I couldn't actually record this on stream, or I couldn't get this sub 30 on stream. Because, wow. We've just input the action at 24.96 seconds. So it will cast at ×3. And that allows him to take an extra action at the end of the fight, which is an important one, because it is 300,000 guaranteed damage. The chain is just so high now that everyone's tapping without any effort at all. And Ida, again, with the double cast. I think she had like 4, no, at least 5 in the fight. So, after casting the USB 2, Alphino has now used Dark Veil 4 once. That's 1 charge of High Quick Cast. Now he gets 1 more action to close out the fight. Minthilia's fight has ended. Oh, that's Alphino's finisher. It went off naturally, 50,000 extra damage. It's not strong for a USB. I think Papalymo chases 50,000 damage in a turn at this point, but it's still 50,000 damage. Alphino's soul breaks are not strong, but he has so many that are at least above the point of usefulness that makes them all worth using, and all of them together kind of makes him a really valuable character in a weird way, even though she doesn't have that strong stuff besides his chain, which is disgusting, or his BSB, which back in the day was one of the best mage soul breaks in the game. So Minthilia's battle is done. Really what I'm doing with her now is hitting defend so I can input other people's actions. That's it. And here's that Asylum. But watch what happens right after the Asylum. This is at 27.53 seconds. 27.6 seconds to give his tank purge. Fight would have been done. Done. DED. And that is why that little delay I talked about earlier, where I had the cursor in the middle of the screen, I forgot about what action Ishtola was going to input, and then finally chose the right one with the Tetragrammaton. Had I been just a 0.07 seconds slower, this would have been a dead run, because I would have died to this instead of that Asylum going off. You gonna dual cast again? Okay, didn't. Didn't on this one. Here's the Brave command, which at a 220% chain is 12 hits at about 60, let's say 6,600 per. And he double casts it. That is the slap in the face double cast, because your Brave charge resets after you cast it the first time, so he gets off a single 10,000 hit. It's pretty good. You know, if he had dual casted Dark Balefore instead, would have done the same thing. The reason why I play the fight like this and use all of Alphinaud's soul breaks, and this is kind of important for everyone out there with like kind of a similar team, but maybe not the incredible amount of soul break points that I've lucked myself into for Alphinaud. This stuff isn't necessary on him. Dark Balefore is strong. I only use it twice. It's strong. It's really strong. It's powerful. His burst command is really strong. But in order for those to match his soul breaks, he needs to have some pretty good dual cast luck. The reason why I ran the fight like this is because in order to get the dual cast luck that Alphinaud would need to make this run possible, I would be sitting here resetting for weeks, where I really only sat here resetting for a couple days, because this fight was that, you know, was that tight. By focusing Alphinaud's like strength into his soul breaks instead, it made it less RNG dependent, because the amount of damage that Brave command does is constant. There's nothing else I could have done over the course of the fight that would really change that, other than maybe dual casts affecting the chain count. That's it. But I actually tested out before I started this commentary of Alphinaud, instead of using his USB 1 and USB 2, using his BSB instead, and not using Dark Balefore at all. And the damage output was comparable. Maybe not as like quite as high, but that's because I wasn't dual casting. And the reason why is because the ability for him to instantly cast makes up for a lot of his damage loss using the Brave command. And in doing so, I don't have to make that entrust in the middle of the fight to him too. So it makes Ishtola safer as well. So for all you out there that think, oh, there's no way I can do this, I don't have either of Alphinaud's USBs. I don't think they're actually necessary. I think his Super Soul Break and BSB are just fine. They're really, really powerful. His BSB being as, like, it was game breaking when it first came out because of the fact that it could instant cast, and there were no ways to grant party, you know, quick cast, insta cast back then. It was crazy what him and Sid Reigns could do. It is aged very well because there still are fights where you're unable to provide any sort of quick cast or instant cast to your party, like this one. So him being able to use that instant cast command is actually still really powerful. And, you know, if I can capture a run doing all of this, using his BSB instead, I will. I will, because I think it's awesome. And here we have the end of the fight at 29.75 seconds. And I want to talk about this for a second, because a lot of people are going to ask, because I usually am a proponent for doing it, is that you want to cast your soul breaks when you have cast speed buffs, because soul breaks take so long to cast. Because his last action executes at 29.75 seconds, it wouldn't matter if I used his Arcane during the Thunder God mode, because it wouldn't remove enough cast time to allow him to take one more action in the fight. So the reason why I use his Arcane last, even though I don't have cast speed buff at that point, is like say I swap their spots. There's two very big reasons. One, there's no way I get his Arcane off in the, you know, the 0.3 seconds that it needed to be off, because I would need to click through a menu to get there, where I can cast Chain Farage instead. And the second would be that at 25 or 24.97 seconds, he still has his USB buff active, or his USB status, which allowed him to chase on his Chain Farage, adding on, and that at that point in the fight, his chase is stacked up to 8 hits, and they were hitting for what, over 6,000, so an extra 40,000 damage. If I cast his Arcane first and then a Chain Farage after, it wouldn't have that extra 40,000 damage. And that may not look like a lot, but on a boss with 2 million health, this is still a very close fight. So that extra 40,000 damage is pretty damn useful. That's why I wait. And at 29.75 seconds, the boss is dead. A lot of things needed to go right. It's not like insane RNG. Like I said, I didn't have to spend long after I found out the team that I wanted to use, because I removed most of the RNG from Alphino. Ida's awesome RNG made up for Papalymo's average RNG. If Ida didn't dual cast as much as she did, I'd want Papalymo to dual cast more. Yes, this fight definitely required above average RNG with the dual casting. Ishtola requires no RNG, thank goodness. All of her dual casts mean nothing, but her increased healing does, and that's why I say that her Legend Die was worth something, because the Legend Die provides a lot of increased healing. From her Legend Materia 1, and the 9% increased healing inside her dive, and the plus mind. All of that is necessary, even though the dual cast is not. So, any comments on this incredibly difficult run? Just looking at the team comp, seeing if there's anything else that I missed. Oh, you'll see that the formation is staggered. The reason why is everything physical in the fight is ranged, so there's no row anything in the fight except for Ida being in the front row because her USB isn't ranged, or actually her monk ability isn't ranged either. It was back when I used Fires Within, but I don't anymore. So the reason I stagger them is so I can better see their ATB bar. So if I had Ida in the back row, let's just use that as an example, then for a lot of her casting animations, she would obscure Papalymo, and that was creating a lot of resets because my inability to see Papalymo's ATB bar meant that I didn't know when his turn was coming up exactly, and as you saw, I can't afford that. So, it does help to take a look at the way bosses deal their physical damage, because if everything's ranged, then you can get funky and symmetrical. No, I don't regret any of my healer dives. Not anymore. I did with her for Y'shtola, because for a long time she was just a mediocre healer. Because, like, right after I dived her, I didn't use the global advantage enough to realize that, oh shoot, wall just doesn't become useful anymore. Or wall doesn't become useful to have on a native caster. And that's the reason why I originally dived her. It's like, well, I'm not doing any fight without wall. But then, oh shoot, Magicite arrive, and oh, I can wall every fight with RW. And then Torments, oh, you automatically get wall. Great. So Y'shtola sat on the bench for a very long time. But finally, her dive was very much necessary for this fight. Do you think you're going to be able to sub 30 or at least sub 49? I don't know. I think, well, at least sub 40, yes. Absolutely. Sub 30, maybe. So what I'm going to do with Final Fantasy IX. You're absolutely right, Numa. I could not replicate this on my phone because I don't have a very powerful phone. And the input delay would make the run impossible. I actually tried. Because a lot of the time, when I make these runs up, it's me waking up. I'm not a morning person at all. I'm sure a lot of you are, a lot of you out there are like this. I basically roll over when I wake up, pick up my phone, and start messing around with it. You know, check my Discord and stuff like that. And a lot of the times, that's when I get thinking done. I'm like, oh, man, what other things could I do? And it's the winter, so it's like, 60 degrees Fahrenheit in my room, and I'm like, I don't want to get out of my covers, so I'm going to start messing around with my Magicite or my Torment teams now. And what happened was I came up with this team, and I started playing it out, and I got pretty close at the end and saw that, I couldn't, just like I had been doing on stream, that there's no way I could have gotten Papalymo's actions off in time. So I was like, alright. I rolled out of bed, put a bunch of layers on, and sat in front of my computer and hammered out the run. There are some phones, as Numa points out, that have a lot less input lag than even my emulator. My emulator has a lot, especially when I'm streaming. But on some phones, they really, really handle the game well. And I don't know what they did recently, but I have not gotten a single 60 frame per second run in so long. This game is... It's beautiful to look at sometimes, but it is kind of funny and sad at the same time to realize how unoptimized it is, and it just runs like shit for a lot of people, including me, on every device I have. I think one of the problems is this is a web-served game. What we're doing is it's not running native. A lot of the stuff isn't running natively. We're being served web pages to view. At least I believe that's how it works, and that's why performance is pretty dependent on your browser specifications, I believe. Yeah, I wish we could force 60 frames per second. The game is beautiful, but it used to happen like once a week. I haven't seen it in the past month. So, I don't know what they did, but it is unfortunately seems to be gone. I think the iPhones do run better. Yeah. And you know what? That probably has a lot to do with the fact that they have a different browser backend. Maybe. I don't want to. I don't want to say anything definitive because it's not my area of expertise. I believe this game runs off of WebKit and it's based upon that amount of rendering that you have on your phone or whatever. I'm actually running OpenGL mode on Nox. DirectX mode didn't work that well for me, but I'm going to give DirectX version a try later to see if that makes things any better. Because I had compatibility issues when I was running DirectX instead of OpenGL. Yeah. One in 6 fights. Damn. That's awesome. Yeah, I'll give DirectX mode a try soon. I didn't want to try it out while I was doing these runs. Because I didn't want to... I guess that doesn't matter. I can always just switch it back. Okay, well, I'm done. Unless anyone wants to keep talking about it, I will gladly keep talking about it. I don't know if I'm done streaming, I'm just done the commentary. Ah, I didn't know that. I don't really pay attention that much to the higher end phones. Alright, I'm gonna upload that highlight as its own video. Well, these commentaries end up taking about an hour. It's almost an hour flat. I want to give, I'm excited for the release of the Ice Magicite. Chomping at the bit for new Magicite. Should be next week with maintenance, yep. I will be streaming. I'll stream immediately as maintenance ends. Oh, just got alerted, or just reminded of it. If there's anybody out there that plays Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, I will be attending the FFBE Fan Festa tomorrow. Maintenance is next week, should be on Tuesday. Yep. Tuesday or Wednesday. Or Monday. Shit. Monday night, that is. I do not have any fire chains, and that is what's going to make my fire magicite fights interesting. Because I'm going to try to sub 30, at least one of them chainless. There's very, very little chance I'll be able to sub 30 Mateus, but Manicore, I think I have a shot. I have one... I do have 2 arcanes, but one of them belongs to Locke. Well, I'm not sure who's the greatest member to be contributing to that fight. What am I sorting by? Yeah, even having Locke's chain would be pretty nice. Well, yeah, Locke. I'm sure Locke is probably fine, Borat, but I don't have a form of End Fire for him. Kind of, douses his strength. Oh, shit. This is an old team. I'm just gonna make this from scratch, then. Considering it, Ryan. I do want it, but I'm not going to take it if it doesn't give me a sub 30. And I'll be able to find that out after I run the fight. There's no reason to make any irrevocable decisions before I see the fight. Me? I don't know. I'm not sure there's any USB I'd want enough. I have such a strong fire team. I just don't have a chain. And if this wasn't one of those Magicites that reduced the damage that you deal when it goes into rage mode, this would probably still be an easy sub 30. Could pick Renoa USB 1. Yeah, that's probably one of my top picks. But I don't think we're going to get another USB Select until 4th anniversary anyway. Alright, who's quick? 149, 150... 41, 149. So Alara's gonna go first. Yeah. I don't think it's gonna change anything. I think even with a bad cutoff date, I still pull on everything but 14, and with a really good cutoff date, I think I still pull on everything other than 14. Yeah, it doesn't make a difference for me. There is some good stuff on 7 still. Yep. I worked it out. I'll go over it in a second after I try out this Eyes Goodbye run. We're should start tomorrow, yes. I started from the top. I didn't get to Final Fantasy VII, but I did 7 without writing it down. I have Type 0 at 22%, which is still good for 5 Mithril. No, I'm gonna wall, I'm not gonna buff. To kinda mimic damage output, I guess. There's no real way to reproduce the fight against Eyes Goodbye, who's a friggin' weirdo. His physical only stuff. I would have soul break points by now. Thanks. Have a good night, Rainmaker. Guess we'll give the points to Vivi instead. Man, can we get just 5-star Magicite surprise drop tomorrow, please? Why you got a single target attack? Just do damage, man! Let her rip! I don't think I can afford to send off a second entrust to the damage dealers. I'm just gonna have to let them fend for themselves. So that second entrust will have to go to Alara. So at about 9.5, 10 seconds Terra gets the ability to use her first OSB. Not necessary because we're going to have Phoenix at this point. So I just keep on stacking Enfires. I have to measure it. I need to know how much damage or how much soul break points she's going to have, because she needs what she must do is glint once and arcane. So that's 1,000 soul break points. Everything else goes to OSBs, and if she has 250 left over, then she glints again. I'm hoping they'll be added to the shop after maintenance, Asher. So if she can't glint again, I guess she just keeps on using Veligramanda or Lunar Fray. That's why Terra has a empty ability slot right now. That's where Lunar Frit should be. Alright, why do you have Kurada on? You should have Legro Konmodo. It's awfully selfish of you. Oof. Yeah, he would be able to USB there against a real boss. I'm probably gonna have to go up twice. That is going to be an issue, the Chain Blizzaja thing. So that's the team that I'm going to try, except it's going to be a little different. Because I'm going to do the fight wallless. Even though it's not a completely piercing fight. So the differences would be, Lara won't need a Heiska. So she'll carry instead. Top Gun Ultima first turn. Actually, he might be able to melt down. I'll have to see. I'll try the fight with using completely meltdown. But with Alara giving everyone high quick cast every turn, it may be too much. Or just get the best of both worlds. R5 meltdown. The Heiska. Babbler Raider. Oh. Turn 2, second phase. Self auto hit, resistance plus 100% for 10 seconds. I'm gonna have to use a dance. I don't have it made. That means Papalymo is still going to protect me. Yeah, sure. Probably. I don't know what Eisgebind is like on walls. Let's try it out. Ouch. Oh! No more Frost Breath. Give me the Savage one. Piercing attacks, please. Damage output's pretty poor. Oh, that needed to be a Phoenix. The trance modes will help. Well. You grouch. Oh, it's gonna be tight. We will see. I might have a shot. No! Oh, what do I do with my stamina? Gotta farm holy crystals, I think. Alright. Was never meant to be a long stream. I got my commentary done. This will be the end once I get rid of my stam. Because I gotta head out. Hopefully I've got another commentary coming soon. Maybe sometime soon. Final Fantasy IX is close. And the only reason that I'm not putting in serious attempts on it right now is because I'm waiting for the Realm on Parade and the USB Lucky. Just to see if anything pops up in that. Oh, also, I mean, the reason why I'm farming these holy crystals right now is for the new Knight ability. That on Beatrix will make a big difference. It'll allow her to use your USB a turn earlier than I was on my old attempts. Which is actually Kuja's problem right now. He doesn't have a 6-star ability to use. So he USBs a turn later. But I will give it real attempts once those conditions are cleared and Festival comes. Maybe I don't use Kuja at all. Thoughts on Kuja die with USB? I actually think it's really good for Torment. His USB finisher does add to the chain, even though it doesn't benefit from the chain, which is kind of cool. As a Dark Mage, he self-buffs well, which means he works really well in the, that kind of environment. The reason why I'm hesitant, and the reason why I haven't done it immediately, is because he's not going to be useful for me outside of the Torment. So I want to just kind of see if I get lucky and pull something for Final Fantasy IX that is good for the Torment and something else. I don't know what it does for it. The Magical Dark is Rain's BSB. Seymour Chain. Cloud of Darkness. USB. OSB, BSB. I thought there was another. And he's probably better than Cloud of Darkness. Because I'm probably not going to need the 2 magic buffs. I'll just need Rains and that's it. Well, maybe Ricky? I don't know. I haven't really seen Nadine. But I feel like that I'd probably want someone with the ability to entrust to Alara. I don't know, what do you think about it, Borat? Yeah, COD does have a shit dive. So actually he's on the team at the moment. Because I think I would use him over Cloud of Darkness. Well, actually, wouldn't her OSB be useful in that fight? We're not going to have the ability to break the damage cap against that boss. Let me see. What does your rage mode look like, Medine? Medine will enter Savage mode on the first turn. First time after its 5th turn, it enters blah, 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 blah. Oh, in Rage mode, all damage it receives is decreased by a 1/6. Its ATB fill rate and cast speed are decreased by 20%, and all damage it deals is increased by 30%. I would like to break that. I don't know what trick you're talking about. Ricky, I think the team will stack the chain fast enough that it will be effective. So basically, it's a choice between Cloud of Darkness with her magic buff and Shit Dive versus Rains and BSB. I only have so many Dark of Damage abilities to go around, too. Yeah. Oh. Well, I don't think that's a problem that much with Kuja. I'll consider it. Yeah. Kuja will likely be able to USB twice? Well, at least twice, obviously. Yeah, but what about USB 1 and USB 2? I'm not guaranteed the awakening. I'm not even sure I want to go after the awakening. Yeah. USB 2 allows them to break the damage cap too. Just have to give him something that low hits and a high multiplier. Dark Zone. Hell, if he really needs to, Memento Mori is a single hit 8.0 attack. That'll definitely break the damage cap. Maybe I just end up doing that. Use a buffer. Seymour. Kuja. No, buffer. Seymour. Sephiroth. Entruster. Alara. Yeah, we'll see. A lot depends on, let's take a look at that. Sid Reigns USB 2 banner. Sid Reigns Arcane, Sid Reigns USB 2. Kane Arcane. Oh no, Kane Awakening, which obviously better. I do like Kane's Awakening. Especially now that we know there's a 6-star Lightning Dragoon ability coming. Paladin Cecil's Glint 2. So we know that other Paladin Cecil stuff is probably going to be on the banner. Sid Reigns start the battle, then Dark. Oh, jeez. I mean, if I have Sid Reigns LMR too, that makes his BSB pretty crazy. Yeah, it really is. I hate playing Record Keeper on 2 devices. Because it tells me that my stamina's full all the time when it's really not. Because it would have been full according to the last time I played it on that other device. So the stamina full notification is just useless. Yeah, it's for JP though. I'm not going to count on it actually being there. If it is, that's awesome. This is the Alphino. Everything for Alphino on this banner is the stuff I don't have. His chain, his glint, his LMR. This banner's made for me. I love it. And this is one of the weakest banners of the festival. And that's why I have 612 Mithril right now. Yes, Realm on Parade and USB Lucky. Banner 4 would be the weakest, yeah. Still probably throwing at least one at it. Though the latest Final Fantasy XII event does give me pause. The Ash Awakening event looks like a really nice banner. And there are a couple dupes between them. It's probably still not enough to stop me from throwing at least 50 Mithril at it. Hoping that I have about 1200, yeah. It's going to be the festival. Yes. Yes, there will. I'm gonna have 1200 Mithril, man. I'm going hard on everything. Obviously, the third banner of the festival is the best. That is going to get the most Mithril. But Banner 1, Banner 5, both great. Banner 2's, as we just found out, like, I would love Sid Rain's stuff. Kane, Awakening, awesome. Alphino, obviously. If it has Onion Knights USB 3, even better. So even Banner 2, which is, you know, not even one of the stronger banners of the festival, is still going to get a lot of pulls out of me. Alright. 10 pulls? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Maybe... Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, a lot can happen in 10 pulls, right? You know, I don't decide stuff like that beforehand. Alright, I'm out of here. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope to stream again soon. Don't know when I will, though. At the very least, the latest time that I will stream will be the morning of the next maintenance next week. Because I want to kill some Ice Magicite. And that's it. Good night.